Grants are not, will amend later. They're still submitting and working on applications and allocations, so I don't have any of the final numbers for you. What I do have is that we are down to one ESSER fund. Of the special COVID funding that we received 3 waves of ESSER funding, and we're down to 1 for next fiscal year. And that'll be the last fiscal year of those dollars. Cash accounts such as gift and donations, tax credit, the rental of facilities. For those accounts, I just went ahead and do a cash end projection for June 30th, plus any projected revenues, and that's what those budgets are for the new year.
I had a question about that. When we did those funds, I often wondered, I remember talking to superintendent about capital, but not being able to move that into M&O, that kind of thing. It has to be specifically for what they were earmarked, right, by the public. Talking about the donations for the tax deductor.
Correct. So the donations, Mr. Ramirez, they have to be all board accepted. All donations have to be accepted by the board. And
I'm saying if there are ever any of those funds left over, what happens to them?
They remain in the funds where they're earmarked. So in the USFR, the Uniform System of Financial Records, they have specific fund numbers where we have to place it.
The only reason I ask is because I remember when they closed things like that, when they would tell us, well, I know that we're gonna close this account or that account because people aren't running them at the high school anymore, then they would all go toward social studies or something. I remember that.
Okay.
Once before it, I was being told, it's like, it's all get absorbed by one particular club.
Like
They don't get lost.
That's different. So let's say that a club goes defunct, right? If a club doesn't have an activity for 2 years, it used to be 1 year, the law changed and now it's 2 years. So if a club is inactive for 2 consecutive years, and that's key, has to be consecutive, then I bring that list to you, which I'll bring in August, of the list of the clubs that are going to go defunct. And then the decision goes back to STUCO or STUCO to repurpose the funding from those clubs. So you are correct, it reverts to STUCO or STUGO, depending on the school, for that student group to decide where the money is going. Donations are to remain in that fund and for the purpose that the donor.
Yeah, let's pray that, you know, Stuco doesn't all of a sudden not exist.
They must. STUCO and STUGO
That
must.
means it goes back to capital, right, Mr.
Yeah, and student activities are not M&O, student activities is not capital. It's very different. Are there any questions?
Anyone?
No, I don't have any.
Anybody have any questions, Ms. Colby?
I have no questions, thank you.
Ms. Vasquez?
None,
Mr. Kramer?
Thank you for all the hard work, Gisela. Really appreciate it.
No, because Charlotte knows that the questions come later.
Oh,
The budget gets approved. And we'll talk about it in July.
So no, it's a motion to approve the proposed budget.
Okay, I don't have any more questions either, so. Thank you, Stella. You always do such a great job. Thank you for your presentation. Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 proposed budget as presented?
So moved.
Second,
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Superintendent's report, Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. I'm going to be presenting later, so I won't have very much to say now because I'll be talking quite a bit later tonight. But just attended a meeting where I got here now. This was late to our meeting with South 32. Their board of directors was here in town from all over the world that are part of that company. We were talking about with the community and the county and what their future looks like. I didn't get to stay because I had to come back to our meeting, and so Dr. Leonard will have to fill me in, and I'll update the board at a future time And I want to congratulate all the teams this summer that are working really hard to improve football, cross country. I know has been working, all the other sports in the weight room. And thank Coach Stolman for all his work in the weight rooms. I just want to thank all the athletes for all their hard work this summer. Thank you.
Any board member report? Phobium?
Thank you. Been a lot of activity that I've been involved in, but I really appreciate the Facebook posts, you know, on all the athletics that's still going on and the summer schools that went on. It is great that that continues during the summer. So I think, Shannon, are you still responsible for most of that, or are the sites doing?
The sites do a lot of theirs, I do some, it's a toy different, but they do a lot of their own pictures. Yeah.
So to everyone who is active posting, it is truly appreciated.
Thank you. Ms. Vasquez?
Same thing. I love everything that comes up on Facebook, all the kids that have been working really hard all this summer. I see some of the kids running past my house, and they go through the, through the streets, and I think that's amazing. I had the opportunity to go to a conference in Flagstaff also that was very, very educational, very, very insightful. They had great guest speakers there, and it was really, really like an eye-opener. Okay, I was the only one that went from our district, and Nogales had 3 people that had gone, so I kind of stayed with them for a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. It was, and it went, it was long, but it was very, like I said, it was very, very educational. We had a lot of breakout sessions and all that stuff, and we got to go to the ones that we wanted to go to. So that was very, very, really, really nice, to do that. Also, I wanted to comment on, I met the chief of police for Benson. My grandkids live in Benson, okay, and they have friends, and they're playing soccer, and they're playing a lot of sports, okay, tennis and all that stuff. Anyway, I met the chief of police in Benson. His name is Greg Volker, V-O-L-K-E-R. Anyway, he was asking me, where I worked or what I was doing, and I told him that I was here from Rio Rico. He just kind of floored it. He has nothing but amazing things to say about our students, our district. According to him, he has come over to Rio Rico High School, to the ROTC, to some of the things that the kids have been doing. He says that our kids are very polite, they're very knowledgeable, that our campus is amazing. I mean, he had nothing but good things to say about all of our kids. And I thought that was really cool, because this is somebody that doesn't live here, and it would just happen that, he's in Benson. Again, he's a police chief over there, and he was just, raving about our district, about our students, about our teachers, and about how the program with the ROTC is working. So I thought that was amazing. So just kudos to everybody that does that, and that just gives us a little insight of what other people see when they do come into our community, and they see that everybody is very, very nice. Everybody is, is very respectful. And I think that was, I felt like my feathers were like this. Okay. I was like so happy. Yes, I looked like a peacock, I swear to God, because I was so happy that he was just talking so much about what I already know, about the way I feel. And I was just really happy. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Kramer?
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I just want to bring up the fact that I was watching ESPN2 last week. Well, we all watch sports and stuff like that, right?
Definitely.
But Mr. Verdugo and I had chatted about the minor league system baseball and the A system as you're starting out. Anyway, I was watching the Minot Hot Tots versus the Bismarck, whatever, North Dakota teams on ESPN2. But I started looking at the rosters, and I said, lo and behold, Saul Soto from Rio Rico is pitching for the Minot Hot Tots.
Oh
He
my.
goes to New Mexico State University. He's a freshman there, just finished his freshman year. Anyway, he came in the 8th inning. So if the Soto family in Rio Rico was watching ESPN2, well, at least that's why I was, and there was in Bismarck, and I think there were 1,800 fans, and it was all good, but they even mentioned what a good pitcher he is. Granted, he didn't pitch as well as he probably could have, but the fact that our Rio Rico boy was on ESPN2, pitching in a Northwest League, not the Minnesota League, but the Northwest League. And I thought that was pretty neat. It's
Really
something
neat.
special again, that's, it's just not everybody, that sometimes we don't always recognize people. I know we do, but certainly that was unique because I just happened to be watching that. I also want to say thank again for the tax credit stuff. I know in the past we had recognized it. I don't know where we're at with that again. I remember that when people used to donate, we would send stuff out. Hopefully we continue because that is certain. You've done a great job on that. The fact is that now you can get in there, use a credit card or whatever you want, debit card, get that contribution, $100, $200, whatever, choose wherever you want. I think it's certainly an up from 5 years ago or so, but it's certainly very good. I think we need to push that this year certainly, because it's very important for all of our, what you were talking about, the clubs and activities. It is a good funding source. And I know a lot of coaches and or sponsors utilize that to where they can get $5,000 to $10,000 from people in Arizona, obviously, cousins, grandpas, whomever. So I certainly think that we certainly want to keep selling that, obviously, through our social media, as mentioned. Thank you for bringing up about that South 32. Certainly our JTED from what we have now and our visions from 2008, when we first started with that, and how we were thinking of where is that going to tie in, how we're going to keep helping kids. Well, certainly what you attended and how that's going to fit in eventually with our students and programs and everything else. I think it's very important that we keep continue supporting and building upon that, because it's very important. I wasn't able to attend, but it was in Rio Rico. And I know that times there's opinions and facts and opinions and facts, and hopefully the facts come out that is a more positive. Sometimes initially the opinions are gonna be, oh, no. It's always not in my backyard. There's not in my backyard theory that goes on throughout this country. And certainly, we certainly want to think about that, because if we really want to look about it, they are expanding where the gravel pit is along Camino, right down where the cement plant is. There you go. Thank you. Camino Agua Fria, where the old airport strip used to be, right in there. They are expanding her in there. Granted, you can call in there if you want. There's more of just what they want to know, what they're letting us know, what is expanded upon as well. So they're going to double their capacity from 50 feet to 100 feet down. They are expanding over there. So there's something that I wasn't even brought up, but yet that's there. And then the homeowners in that area sometimes are a bit concerned. But those are things going on in our community that certainly we are, as we've always talked about, we are a board and we are this kind of the sole entity of Rio Rico. So I just wanted to bring that up because again, the facts sometimes are not always laid out, maybe not understood, and more conversations are certainly in the future. But hopefully we continue supporting our JTED. I know that's going to be a big part of this. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the baseball info. I was clueless about that. Well, I wanted to discuss something that happened at one meeting before I left to Germany, which was you and Mr. Kramer and Mr. Verdugo were having a meeting. And I want to let you know that I did wait for a moment. And Angie asked me to wait for a second. Usually I start them right at 5. I try hard as soon as Miss Enciso tells me I do. And I just want to let you know, and I know that Mr. Kramer nor Mr. Verdugo, I think I know you well enough to know that you didn't take it personally, but there were some other people who thought that I was trying to be malicious or something of this sort. But I just started the meeting on time, and I just want to point out that once, I learned this from Mr. Kramer too, to be punctual about stuff. Because one time I had to use the restroom and he started the meeting right on time. And I didn't take any offense to it. I just thought this is how you do things. And well, I want to point out too that when on my very first meeting as a governing board member, I said that it behooves us to set the example. So I just want to clarify, in a friendly way, that I didn't do it with any malicious intent at all. I just started the meeting on time as I was taught. And also I think it is important that we set the example because, I mean, we're always asking kids to run the class on time, K through 12 or pre to 12. And we also impress that admin always impresses upon teachers to start their classes on time. We all learn from being teachers, those of us that were teachers. Yeah, no offense. The other thing I wanted to mention was, and I was hoping Brad was gonna be here, Mr. Beach would be here, but Ariana Villascusa really come back to life after her injury. I don't know if you guys realize, but she was on top. She was like the #1 wrestler in the world. And she beat the girl 10-0. It was the #1 wrestler in the world. I mean, that's big for her. And I think of Carlos, you know, when he ran in the Pan Am Games, and how, God, you know, a kid from Rio Rico. And now look at Ariana on that stage. I mean, that's the cream of the crop here we're talking about. And so she suffered a terrible injury. And that set her back, but she didn't give up, and she came back and started wrestling again, and now she's worked her way back up to the top, not quite the top, but she lost to one of the best wrestlers, but it still hasn't knocked her out of the running to represent the United States in the Olympics. So her next wrestling match will be in Budapest. And if she wins there, it helps her to qualify, but she also helps the United States qualify if she takes first place in Budapest. And I was hoping Mr. Beach would talk to you about all this, but he didn't make it today because of his ride, as you guys know, his bike ride. So, and she also got, I believe she has, I know she was on the, it's a real shame of all days, you know, for this to go up, because I asked Miss Enciso if she would put this picture up, but she also was endorsed by Nike, I believe, or I mean Adidas. And I just want to show you the pictures because I asked Miss Enciso she'd do this, and God bless her, she still did. So, I mean, you can at least see it on the screen. You can see the pictures of her. Unbelievable. So, a shame, but maybe we can put these back up on next board meeting or something like that, just so people can see. She's got that endorsement there by Adidas. Adidas, as you're supposed to say. Pretty cool. I thought I'd take a moment. I thought you guys- Right, she wrestles for US Army, right?
That's great, yeah. Very cool, thank you.
You're welcome. So, thank you. So I just want to let you know that she's going to come back to the United States after this Budapest meet, and she's going to wrestle, I believe, in Las Vegas or Colorado Springs, one of the two. And then she's going to have to take on the #1 wrestler again, which is going to be really difficult for her, as her father said, because, I mean, let's face it, these guys they're good tacticians. And if they know you have an injury, well, you know, they'll work on you. So God bless her, and I hope I'm sure all of us hope that she wins. If she does, she makes it to the Olympics. Wow, what a girl. And what a statement about Mr. Beach and his efforts. I always say this, that's that one person can't make a difference, as you did in running. And look at Mr. Beach with wrestling. One coach can make a big difference. Any person can make a big difference in our community. So don't ever give up. Yes, Mr. Kramer?
Yes, may I have the floor again, Mr. President? Once you're finished.
Sure, yes, you may. Of course you can.
Oh, I just wanted to be, I didn't want to be remiss. For a moment, this is our last meeting in June, correct? Correct. Well, I just wanted to point out that Julieta, this is your last board meeting. I didn't even think about it, but I want to say it is your last board meeting, and congratulations. Certainly after all the years in the district, wanted to say thank you for all those years. Granted, we do have a replacement. Enjoy your retirement. As we chatted out there, I know where your plans are, but still, you'll enjoy it. Thanks again for everything, for all the years of all of our shenanigans. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. President.
You bet. I echo that. Happy you made it. Okay, so. The trust, policies, Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. We spent a full Saturday looking at the policy. I gave copies to the board. soon as we had anticipated. We did get them to you during the revised agenda, but our recommendation for today is to approve, because our ASB policies expire June 30th. And so we need new policies beginning Saturday, July 1. And so our recommendation is to approve what we reviewed on that Saturday and updated. And then for any further recommendations and adjustments, that we begin doing that our first meeting in July. And that way we have our policies in place. We already know that the admin team vetted the requirements through the business office, curriculum, as well as Dr. Lunderville with student services. But then in July, we can then refine each of the chapters. We can begin with board recommendations and updates, because I know that speaking to each board member, that everybody has something that they would like to add or review more in depth. And so we begin that with the board July, our first meeting in July, and then again, second meeting in July. And then again, as I mentioned before, we'll be reviewing all the policies throughout the entire year. Because it's going to take us the full year to just make sure there are, what we want. So my recommendation tonight is to approve the policies as presented, and then we're going to come back for any board recommendations in our meetings in July.
Discussion, Ms. Fogan?
I am comfortable with that explanation.
Vasquez?
So am I. I'm very comfortable with it. Yeah, because we did go in depth and we did talk about a lot of stuff that we wanted to add to it and all that stuff. And so I totally agree. We can start in July.
Mr. Kramer?
Oh, yeah, as per my discussion with Mr. Verdugo prior to this, we chatted about it because as I was unable to attend because of thank you for asking, but my family comes first. But certainly, yeah, I had a lot of, and I sent that in and stuff, but certainly that's good to work on that and not tonight. So, yeah.
Well, I just had a question about this will remain then on the agenda for the next two meetings.
Yes, so what we would do is approve the policies so that we have all of our policies in place. And then it will remain on for discussion, information, action items in the two meetings in July, and probably beyond that.
Could we please put that down in the motion then? Because I want to make sure that it's on the agenda, just to be on the safe side.
Or you can also do it during the proposed topics.
Who sets the agenda, Mr. President?
Well, both the superintendent and I, but
Right.
I think that
So
that
you
should
can
be
come
put
back
on.
to it.
You can
You
make
can bring it back,
you
eh?
can make the comment any way you
All
want.
right, well, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the Santa Cruz Valley US Unified School District number 35 policies as presented, with the understanding that we're going to put this on the next two agendas.
So move.
I couldn't hear it, so I can't second it.
Well, she seconded.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
One inner discussion, Mr.
Any
President?
further discussion?
Well, certainly, thank you, and certainly, yes, it's good. I think that what our presenter stated to us in the beginning is our first year, this is a living, breathing document that can always be abridged, can be added, can be worked on, can be added to, taken away, and go from there. And I think, I know you're concerned because I don't think it's gonna close, because I think all of us together know that we have that opening, be it our HR, be it our business office, be it anybody that could come October, September, November, whatever, come back from the law conference, come back from anything, right? So, yeah, I mean, right.
Have all of us present too.
Exactly, so I don't think, I understand your concerns, Mr. President, I'm glad that, but I think that we all understand that we can certainly make changes anytime. It's not gonna be lock and loaded, yeah, it's done, it's the 10 Commandments and we can't change it. And Mr. Verdugo's not coming down from the hills.
What do I look like?
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Again, I feel badly because I could not hear it, but based on the fact that everybody was comfortable with it, I'm happy to vote aye.
Okay, motion passes 4-0. 2022 superintendent performance-based pay goal determination, Mr. Verdugo.
Since there's no video, I will go ahead and I think each of you have a copy of the presentation.
Mr. Verdugo?
Yes, we
can
did.
I interject?
Yeah.
Certainly. I wasn't able to be here for your contract. Congratulations on that. I think we all had a chance to look through this, correct?
Yes.
Yes. I'm just saying that, whatever you want to go through in a short synopsis, because I don't see anything wrong, my personal view of all this. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but I'm just trying to say that everything in here, I mean, you've exceeded.
Absolutely.
And
Totally agree.
since people can't see it,
And it is posted, it will be on the agenda, so if they would like to see it, I'm fine with that, but and I'm okay with answering any questions that the board may have about those. I know we worked on the goals, and I know that we will work on goals in the future. One thing that I will say, this is the first time that I'm making the recommendation that I have achieved all of them, because it's the first time that our letter grades were above. So that had been the one thing that had held me back from meets in all of the categories. And since this was the first year that we had all Bs and above, I felt comfortable recommending that I met that.
just again, I'm only saying it to save, because you were there to screen. Mr. President, I'm just, right on the last page for the public, he meets goals of 1,150, 375, all four goals, a total of 4,615. And there was a lot in here, of what you and your team have done, where you're overseeing that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying against you, I'm just trying to say,
I appreciate it.
I mean, it's in here that you've done it,
Thank you very much.
Above and beyond.
right? And I think, again, my absence, but you guys, the four of you voted on that, you said it right there too. That's why they renewed, and I certainly think what I said, this is certainly part of that.
Yes.
That's just my feeling. Again, I'm not trying to, I'm thinking that you deserve that. You don't need to justify it.
But I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
That's just my opinion, Mr. President, on that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Do we have any other further discussion, Ms. Hogan?
I think we went over it well in an exec session, and I think everybody feels very good about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vasquez?
Same thing. I think he deserves more. I think we take advantage of him. And after a certain point, he doesn't seem to think so, okay, but I'm very happy with everything that you do, Mr. Renova. Your guidance, what can I say? I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everything you do. The fact that you are genuine, that makes me, so thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you as well. So do I hear a motion to approve Mr. Verdugo's 2022-2023 performance-based pay goals determination as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, sir. Did you have anything to say?
Again, I appreciate it. And as I mentioned before, I'm just honored and humbled to be the superintendent. Now and be the face, especially like at meetings, and just representing everything like myself, because I feel like a peacock at times as well. Being able to share all of the great things happening in our district. And again, I stand on the shoulders of the giants in our district, because everybody makes us look good. So thank you.
Okay, moving on. Propose and prioritize topics and possible dates and times for future board meetings. Does any board member have anything that they would like to propose or prioritize for a future board meeting?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, yes, sir.
And certainly Mr. Verdugo is aware of these, because I did discuss with him, because I'm not catching him off guard. Correct, Mr. Verdugo?
Correct.
All right. With that said, and this is something that we talked about in our budget discussion, and I know he said we will bring it back in July. So we want to look at the county property taxes. of the old Avatar and sale lots, and I know you had scheduled that we were gonna, but certainly may want to look at that in the end of July, right? We did talk about this, but I think it's important that we look at it before I get our final budget, that we implement this, because we're always trying to help our teachers, but I think we need to get our pay scale for sub-hourlies. For instance, if your teacher's covering for the last hour of the day, I think it needs to be higher than what it is, because right now, if you go to Quick Trip, starting salary is $21.50. What are we paying our subs? Exactly. So let's look exactly. So if Quick Trip is paying more than our teachers at sub hours, I think we need to look at that. Just saying that because that's on that. And also, we talked about this as well, is revisit the, and you can correct me on this, but revisit the retirement package for those that are longevity teachers that have retired, that want to come back and retired, but want to come back as in your case, revisit that, because we do have a ceiling, but I think we should revisit that to give them a better opportunity to collect from, rather than just being frozen out there after their 10th year.
And just to clarify, because obviously we're not going to discuss it tonight, but Mr. Kramer is recommending us look at giving somebody, for instance, like Ms. Vasquez that retired with 30 years, giving you the full 30 years. That rate to incentivize.
If you were to come back as a teacher.
If you come back as, if you have been with the district, giving you however many years you've been with our, those amount of years, which I think is very honorable, and I think that would really recognize and probably induce some retirees to come back.
I want to come back.
Yes. So again, we can't discuss tonight.
No, we're not yet.
I just wanted to clarify. I think it's a very positive thing that Mr. Kramer is bringing forward.
Just for clarification, we pay our subs $30 an hour. So they do. It's 21.
50 cents more, a Quick Trip.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kramer.
Yeah, certainly, and hopefully we didn't. I just want to make sure that those are good, positive stuff that we do. Anyway, thank you, Mr. President.
You're very welcome. Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause? No. Okay. So, Mr. Raduga, did you have something regarding the regular governing board meeting on July 11th?
Just a reminder that is our next meeting, so we have a few weeks off, and then we come back with our first meeting in July, on July 11th. And then also the ASBO conference, for those that will be attending the ASBO conference, will be the first time that we have board members attending. I know Ms. Brown is excited to have some support there for the first time. She usually helps. So a lot of the team there be able to learn about what Ms. Brown does. So.
Sir. Consent agenda. Does anybody have anything that they would like to remove from the consent agenda to discuss?
Yes, I do, Mr. President.
Okay. Mr. Kramer.
The AZDOHS services. AZDOHS services and service agreement. Was in the amendments.
He couldn't say that.
Is it item number 4? I was just
Yeah.
looking at the file attachments because I wanted to read it right.
Okay, so does anybody else have anything they would like to remove? Well, I would like to remove number 9. Yes. Okay, so do I hear a motion to pass a consented, accept, to approve and accept the consent agenda with the removal of item 4 and 9?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
And certainly, I am just bringing this up because you know me in technology, I'm always going to be questioning that. Certainly, I'm never looking a gift horse in the mouth because this is a $220,000 protocol that we are getting for free. Right. Okay. With that said, I saw all the other districts that are partnering up with it and everything to that effect. And this is cybersecurity to help prevent from us being stonewalled by our people from other countries coming in to grab a hold of files. Is that correct?
In a broad sense, that's exactly correct.
And from what I was reading, and again, this is not on us, it's just I want clarification, so when it does come to it, I couldn't see anything, all I saw was they have up to 48 hours to notify us if we've been breached. And that was part of the contract, which I understand and all that. I would just maybe, if we can get a better clarification for that for the future, because this is not going in away at all. In fact, I'm glad we're part of a consortium because we will be protected in that sense. And I know that I don't know if we talked about the trust, where they're at and how they're covering us. If we have some liability as far as financial goal, I didn't see anything in that as far as this goes. I think it's just more just protecting, correct? But there was no monetarily protection of, hey, we're gonna give you this amount of.
There's no medical insurance that would help us financially.
Right,
It's just a protection.
It's just the protection. It's just like a wall, and that's what you're saying. But if it's breached, then they said up to 48 hours, which I thought was a long time. And you can just get clarification on that, but not right now. Don't answer that because it doesn't need to be answered, because it didn't really say in there other than said up to 48 hours. But certainly that's important because that's something that all of us would have to know right away. And certainly HR would want to know because they're gonna be going after social security numbers and things to that effect. So that's what they're always shooting for. And so that's all I wanted, that is just that information. There was nothing, I'm saying all good for it, other than those. And then certainly whatever the trust does cover for us, I'd certainly like to see that again, or at least so we know what's going on that. Because that is not going anywhere. I mean, if you read, remember some of the stuff I send you from information technology, just across the country, how we are being attacked. And it's not the countries that we know. The countries, the governments that we know.
So Mr. Chairman, just so I'm clear, clarity on basically what happens within those 48 hours, like what's the procedure, what would the procedure look like if we were breached? Is that-
Exactly, because that's the key of this.
Sure.
The whole thing is what they said, everything on, that's all good, but we just need to know what our parameters are too. And then certainly with the trust, well, how much are we covered? And I know like a lot of places say, oh, we're not gonna pay it, and they don't pay it, well, they lose all their data, they lose people's social security numbers and everything else, addresses, whatever else, ages, it's everything that happens on that, but just again, I just was bringing that up because it's certainly important for our staff to know too. I mean, there are no secrets, but we need to see that, hey, we are protecting your information too.
And this is at no cost to the district, right? Which is even better.
Formerly, the district was paying, but
Huh?
now with this new state license, then we're part of that consortium, so it's for free for us. So it's actually a savings.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Good job, yeah.
So it's like getting Bitdefender for free. And that's it. Steve, you thought I was just trying to, so we have that. It wasn't, I just want to bring out that because I think it's important that we let our staff know too what's going on.
I can get you that clarification.
And certainly, yeah, and we just share that with them too, because it's important. Because people's privacies, they still like. At least some of us. That's it, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Does anybody have any further discussion with regard to?
No,
Thank you again, Mr. Kramer, for your insight. Appreciate that and for drawing attention to it. Thank you. So do I hear a motion to pass number 4 of the consent agenda?
So moved.
second,
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Number 9 of the consent agenda. I just wanted to thank the Valle Verde Rotary Club for the $3,500 that they gave to our Rio Rico High School band. So thank you for that nice hefty change. It helps and volunteers as well. And that's all I wanted to say. Our motion to pass number 9 for the discussion. Okay, so do I hear a motion to pass number 9?
So moved.
Consent agenda? A motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And as we have no further stuff to discuss here, we're adjourning our meeting at 7:04.